All right, what's going on, everybody? My name is Andrew Damon. Thank you so much for pressing play. On my channel, we talk about the Bible, the history of the Bible, and the context therein. Today, we are looking at one particular verse, Genesis chapter 18, verse 19, which is right here where my cursor is. For I have chosen him that he may command his children and his household after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing righteousness and justice, so that the Lord may bring to Abraham what he has promised him. Now, yes, this is particular to Abraham, but there's a lesson to be learned here in the father's main responsibility of the household. I have a book with me right here. I've brought this book into the channel before. It's called A Theology of the Family. You guys can find this in different Christian bookstores and possibly Amazon. I remember looking at one point, but I don't remember finding much in the way of possible links to post on here. But in this section, this is page 353, John Calvin, who lived from 1509 to 1564, he writes about this topic extensively. And I wanted to read a little bit from this because this is very, very important. After reading this, I was like, this section really stood out to me. He says, so what is to be noted here is that heads of the family, fathers, right, must go to the trouble of being instructed in God's word if they are to do their duty. How often do we sit here honestly as Christian men and go, wait a minute, I actually need to know this stuff, not just for my own sake, but for the sake of my family as well. The guiding of my family, the spiritual leadership of my family, the raising of my children, all of that. He continues by saying, if they are stupid, if they do not know the basic principles of religion or of their faith and do not know God's commandments or how prayer is to be offered to him or what the road to salvation is, how will they instruct their families? ? All the more, then, must those who are husbands and have a family and household to govern think, quote, I must establish my lesson in his word so that I will not only try to govern myself in accordance with his will, but I will also bring to it at the same time those who are under my authority and guidance. I cannot even explain to you how much of a responsibility I have felt over the last probably 6 to 9 months in my family. I know that I'm the spiritual leader of my household. I have a daughter. She is a little over 1.5 right now. And pretty soon she's going to be 2 years old. Pretty soon after that, she's going to be 3 years old, and so on. And the years go by very quickly. I remember when she was born. It was just less than 2 years ago. But my point is it was still almost 2 years ago. Like, that is a good little chunk of time. And it felt like it's gone by so fast. And before I know it, she's going to be of an age where she needs this influence. She needs to know this, which means the parents, my wife, me, with me leading the ship, we have to know this stuff. I have to know this stuff. And so if that is something that you are struggling with, if you're continuing to be like, man, I don't know this stuff. I really don't know. How the heck am I supposed to do it? There is plenty of sources. Not only is America a fantastic place simply because we have the freedom to own Bibles, we have the freedom of believing in God without having people knock on our door and arrest us for that. We have the freedom to open our Bibles up and read. And I think what we need to be praying for is a lack of laziness, a willingness to pursue and to go after God's truth. One of the things that I would specifically pray for in your own personal life, if you aren't already doing this, is for God to light a fire underneath you. Pray that prayer every day for the rest of your life. And lean on that understanding that God will give you what he desires if it's in the righteousness of God. If you ask for God to give you wisdom, God is not going to necessarily take wisdom away from you. You're asking him. You're putting a situation in where you are asking God to go after and to help you go after and to give you the strength to go after what he has called you to do. And when you make it that way, God will give you those things. And so that honestly is the best piece of information that I can possibly give to any person who is a young father or mother, for that matter, parents. But this is kind of tailored towards the guys because this is about being the spiritual head of your family. We have to be that. It's a responsibility. It's not a suggestion. It's a command. We have to do that. So hopefully that helps you. Hopefully that is something that will help you in the coming days, weeks, months, and years as you continue on. If you guys want to, please go ahead and press this video. This is Friday's video from last week. It was interesting to sit there and talk about it. To sit there and talk about Mary, the Queen of Heaven, as is seen from the perspective of the Catholic religion, the Catholic faith in quote-unquote Christianity. It's important to look at that. It's important to learn the text. It's important to go through that. So if that's something that interests you, go watch that. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe as well. And I will see you guys tomorrow.